Previously on Future Pilot 901.
On Thursday on final, the wind 09011. Need to call final, please.
I did call final. I think your passenger might be feeling a wee bit on the ill side. Yeah, you better right rudder, pull back.
I think there are many lessons to learn from this experience.
Don't do it.
Resilience. Another lesson I learned, I was flaring a bit high. What exactly happened? And in my head I just gave up on the landing.
I just a student pilot, a future pilot, trying to learn from his mistakes.
I absolutely hate making mistakes, and having spoken to other student pilots, I know I'm not the only one. The challenge is, it's very difficult to do something as complex as learning to fly without making mistakes, because those mistakes just mean you're pushing yourself beyond what you're able to do at the moment. So the next best thing is to learn from those mistakes. I debriefed the lesson with my instructor afterwards, but we don't usually have the benefit of the videos. And the whole point of me filming my videos is so I can share it with you, but also so I can review my performance and hopefully build on that performance each time. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the biggest lessons that I learned from being battered by big boy crosswinds.
The wind 09013.
Kill the carbons. 13 knots across. Bit less power because we're a bit high. Nail that centre line. Better set that centre line. Over to the right just a touch. Nice and gentle, nice and gentle. Fly level.
So, what exactly happened? It was a hot day. We had a bit of a tailwind pushing us along the runway, and also the airplane was heavier than usual, as we had 3 POBs instead of the usual 2. So all of that meant there was a reduced climbing performance, and when you add in the big boy crosswinds, the airplane was basically handling very differently to what I was used to. On top of that, it's my first time doing the non-standard right-hand circuit pattern around North Weald. So put all of that together, I had quite a bit to wrap my head around.
So we want to be pointing over in that direction.
Okay, what am I looking for here?
That motorway junction down there.
It is mid-downwind.
Motorway.
Try not to turn too early, so just pointing towards those lakes.
I think there are many lessons to learn from this experience. One of the important ones is to always be ready for a go-around. I remember coming into land and things weren't really going the way I wanted them to, and I was flaring a bit high, and in my head I just gave up on the landing. I almost thought whatever happens, happens. Now that shouldn't be the case, and that exact thought and feeling is a good reason to go around. But I think I didn't go around that day because I'd never done a go around in a plane before. But since then I've practiced go around.
Go around.
Water 8 going around.
I've initiated go arounds, and now the last thing, or one of the last things I do as well when I'm on final, is to remind myself that I'm ready for a go around just in case I need it.
Okay, I'm bringing the power outcome. Hub heat is ready for go around if you need it. Oh, and just in case it needs to be said, in case there's someone out there who's never flown a plane before, is going to jump on a plane without an instructor, try to apply what I'm saying, don't do it. This is not for instruction purposes. I'm just a student pilot, a future pilot, trying to learn from his mistakes. Would you be in a plane, having never flown before, without a flight instructor? Meh, everyone makes that disclaimer, so I'm just going to make it too. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. Oh yeah. Another lesson I learned was to do my after takeoff checklist. Especially when you're doing a touch and go in a Pa28, which has a manual flap lever, I think it's very easy to leave 10 degrees of flaps.
Flaps. Carpet's down, full power.
1, 2, 3.
Into incorrect check.
Now 10 degrees of flaps in itself is not necessarily a problem, but I don't want to be cruising around with 10 degrees of flaps. So the after takeoff checklist is a great way to solve that problem. Just in case I left it, if I do my after takeoff checklist and double check the flaps, then I can make sure that I take out any flaps that are in there, and then I'm good to go. Now then, the issue with the radio calls. I think what happened is possibly I pushed to talk too quickly after the last radio transmission, which then blocks my transmission so they didn't hear me call final.
We'd love joining Crosswinds. Yes.
We'll talk final. Good. Good. Wind check.
Need to call final, please. Wind is 09011.
I did call final.
Looking back, there's probably two things I could do better. One of them is I could maybe wait a split second longer before I make my calls. And then the other one is that if I don't get a response, I can just make the call again. Now, I know that at North Weald, it's air ground radio. I don't need clearance. So technically, it's not such a big deal. But for the sake of good airmanship, it's probably a good idea just to repeat the call if I don't think that they heard me or if I don't get a response. And also, that will probably stop them from blanking me when I vacate the runway.
Yeah, we did call final, but it doesn't matter too much.
Call vacated. We'll 12 has vacated runway.
One of the big takeaways from my debrief with my instructor was the word resilience. I'm currently preparing for my flight planning and performance exam, and one of the things that's become apparent to me is that if I took the conditions into account properly, then I would have been better prepared for the lesson. And now that I've done my first solo and I'm about to move on to the navigation phase of my training, that becomes even more important because I'm going to be flying from one airfield to the next. Having said that, no 2 days of flying will be exactly the same, and things happen all the time, as they say, ish happens. So I have to remind myself, do you know what? Something might happen that you don't expect. It will likely happen, and that's okay. And the second part of it is that no matter what happens when I'm flying the plane, it's down to me to make sure that I manage those things as safely as possible. Speaking of which,
You got an estimate on the visibility from the tower?
5k or less.
Okay, thanks very much. 5k or less, back we go.
Roger. Back in a Cessna.
I know, right? Yeah. How does it feel?
It feels like a Cessna.
Hold on 01, the surface wind's calm.
Surface wind calm, how about that?